This is the truth most men never get to hear, not from their doctors, not from their friends, and certainly not from the world around them. But you deserve to hear it, so let me say it plainly. If you're a man over 60 and your energy fades before noon, if your drive has dimmed, if your body doesn't respond the way it used to, it might not be your age, it might be your breakfast. I know how strange that sounds, but stay with me. I'm Dr. Maya Kapoor, and after more than 30 years of walking beside men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s, I can tell you the decline you're feeling doesn't always come from the calendar. It often begins in the quiet, unconscious choices we make every morning, what we put on our plate or don't. You see, your body still remembers how to feel alive, but it needs your help to get there. Today, I want to show you something no one else is talking about. 3 ordinary vegetables that, when used right, can transform your circulation, restore your hormones, and reignite your stamina in ways most men thought were lost for good. And the best part? You don't need a prescription. You just need a plate. So stay with me, because by the end of this video, you won't just have a list of foods, you'll have a plan. A simple daily rhythm that speaks directly to your biology and supports the man you still are. We're not chasing youth. We're reclaiming power. Let's begin. 1. Reignite your circulation naturally. Let's begin where male vitality truly lives and breathes: circulation. It is the current that carries not just blood, but life itself. And after 60, circulation is often the first thing to quietly slow down. Not because something is wrong with you, but because your body is asking for support in a language no one ever taught you how to hear. Without healthy blood flow, nothing works quite the same. Your energy doesn't last. Your thoughts feel foggier. Your confidence, especially in those deeply personal moments, can begin to quietly shrink. I've seen it too many times to count. Men who sit across from me with strong hearts, kind eyes, and a familiar expression of confusion. They're not sick, not broken, but something has shifted, and they can feel it in their bones. That's when I talk to them about beets. I remember one man in particular, Walter. He was 64, a retired builder, tough hands, and a quiet strength that had clearly carried him through a lifetime of responsibility. He leaned in across my desk and said something I'll never forget. "Doc, I don't feel like a man anymore, not in the way that matters." His voice was low, and I could feel the weight of his words. And I told him what I'll tell you. You're not alone. What you're feeling isn't weakness, it's a warning light. And one of the simplest, most powerful ways to respond to that signal is sitting right there in your produce aisle. Beets, humble and overlooked, are one of the richest sources of natural nitrates, which your body transforms into nitric oxide. That one molecule gently opens your blood vessels, boosts oxygen delivery, and improves flow from head to toe, including the places you might have stopped believing in. I asked Walter to try something simple: half a cup of cooked beets with lunch or a small glass of beetroot juice in the morning. That's all. No pressure, no pills, just real food. 2 weeks later, he came back with a grin he didn't try to hide. "Doc," he said, "my wife told me to thank you. But I don't know what's in those things. What's in them is life, quiet, steady life, delivered through blood vessels that finally have the space to do their job. And here's what I want you to take from this. Circulation isn't just about sexual health. It's about walking up the stairs without pain. It's about clearer thinking. It's about waking up with the strength to meet the day, not just endure it. Something as simple as beets can help restore all of that. Not because they're magical, but because your body is still capable of healing, of feeling, of thriving. You just have to give it what it needs. 2. Support the hormones that support you. Now let's talk about something most men never think to connect to: their morning fatigue, their low mood, or that quiet disinterest in things they used to love. Hormones, specifically testosterone. And before you tune out thinking this is only about sex, let me tell you, testosterone is about so much more. It's about your energy, your drive, your confidence, your ability to focus, to feel present, to feel like you. And while yes, testosterone naturally declines with age, that doesn't mean you're powerless to support it. In fact, your body still wants to make it. It just needs the right kind of encouragement. And sometimes that encouragement is as simple as what goes on your plate. I remember a man named Samuel who came to see me not long ago. 68 years old, former teacher, still sharp, still kind, but something in his eyes had dimmed. He sat across from me, his voice low, and said, "Dr. Kapoor, I'm not depressed, but I feel like I'm fading. I'm here, but I'm not here." That feeling, that sense of quiet drifting, is one I've seen in many good men. It's not a character flaw. It's not laziness. It's biology, and more often than not, it's tied to a hormonal shift most men never even know is happening. So I asked Samuel what his meals looked like, what vegetables he ate, and then I told him the truth. His body was starving for magnesium, for folate, for the building blocks that unlock and release his own natural testosterone. I told him about spinach, not glamorous, not exotic, but powerful. Spinach is rich in magnesium, which helps free up bound testosterone in the blood. So it's usable, active, effective, and it's full of folate, which supports your nerves, your blood, and yes, even your prostate. He raised an eyebrow. "That's it?" I smiled and said, "Yes, but do it every day. Cooked spinach with lunch, in your omelet, in your smoothie. However you like it, just be consistent." 3 weeks later, Samuel walked into my office with a lightness I hadn't seen before. He sat up straighter. His voice had more weight. "I'm walking more," he told me. "Sleeping deeper. My wife says I'm flirting again." And then he added, almost whispering, "I feel like myself, and that's what I want for you. Not perfection, not your 20-year-old self. Just that quiet return of who you are, clear, steady, grounded. Hormones don't need to be forced or tricked. They need to be supported, nourished, respected. Spinach may not look like much, but in the right hands, it can be the beginning of everything you thought you'd lost." 3. Fuel that lasts all day. There's a kind of tired that sleep can't fix. You know the one I mean, that heaviness that shows up by mid-morning, the way your body feels like it's dragging behind you, no matter how much rest you've had. I've had so many men describe it to me over the years, sitting in my office, rubbing the back of their necks, saying, "Doc, I'm not lazy, I'm just spent, and I don't know why." That's when I lean in and talk to them about fuel, not caffeine, not sugar, not the quick fixes we've been taught to reach for. I mean real steady fuel, energy your body recognizes, holds on to, and actually uses. And more often than not, that conversation leads us to one surprising place: the sweet potato. Now, I know what some men are thinking. Aren't carbs the enemy? Not this one. Not in the way your body needs it. See, sweet potatoes are one of the most powerful endurance foods I've ever seen, especially for men over 60. They don't spike your blood sugar. They don't give you that crash. What they offer is clean, slow-burning energy, the kind that keeps your legs steady, your hands warm, your mind clear, and your body alert without feeling wired or exhausted. I remember one man in particular, Leon, 71, a retired firefighter, sharp-witted and fiercely independent, but lately feeling like he was stuck in low gear. "I'm not tired because I'm lazy," he told me. "I'm tired because my energy never comes back. No matter what I eat, I feel drained by noon." We looked at his meals, small, rushed, often lacking substance. I asked him to try something simple, half a roasted sweet potato at dinner, just once a day, with a bit of sea salt and olive oil. Nothing fancy, no supplements, just food with purpose. He came back 2 weeks later, standing taller. "Doc," he said, "I fixed the back gate. I cleaned the garage. I haven't napped in days." He chuckled and added, "My wife thinks I'm having a midlife crisis." But what he was really experiencing was something his body had been quietly begging for: fuel that lasts. Sweet potatoes don't just help regulate blood sugar. They also deliver potassium for your muscles, fiber for digestion, and antioxidants that protect your cells. When you eat them, especially in the evening, you're telling your body, you matter. You're giving it permission to work, to move, to restore without depletion. And over time, that kind of nourishment builds something we all need more of: endurance, not just to get through the day, but to actually live it, to wake up and feel like your body isn't a burden to carry, but a partner that's ready to move with you, not against you. That's the power of giving yourself what you truly need, not less food, but better fuel. And it's never too late to start. 4. Your body craves rhythm. By now, you've heard me talk about beets for circulation, spinach for hormones, and sweet potatoes for steady energy. But here's something most doctors forget to mention. It's not just what you eat, it's when. You see, your body isn't a machine, it's a rhythm. And the older we get, the more that rhythm matters. You don't respond the way you did at 30. You're not supposed to. That doesn't mean your body is failing. It means it needs a different kind of support. One that respects the timing of your day. One that works with your biology, not against it. This is what I call the vegetable protocol. And no, it's not a diet. It's not about counting calories or cutting out everything you enjoy. It's about gently reintroducing a rhythm that speaks to the natural flow of your body. Think of it like tuning an old radio. You're still broadcasting, but you've got to find the right frequency. And for most men, that starts first thing in the morning. When you begin your day with beets, whether it's a small glass of beet juice or a few slices cooked the night before, you're not just eating. You're sending a signal to your circulatory system. You're saying, "Wake up. Let's get the blood moving." It primes your energy, your clarity, your ability to feel. Then, come midday, when your hormones start dipping, that's when the spinach comes in. With a lunch rich in magnesium and folate, you're quietly feeding your testosterone, supporting the part of you that gives strength, presence, and drive. And finally, as the day winds down, you nourish your foundation. A warm, sweet potato with dinner offers fuel that doesn't spike or crash. It keeps you grounded. It helps you sleep. It stabilizes blood sugar so you don't wake up restless or drained. This sequence, morning, noon, and night, has changed lives. I've seen men in their 70s look me in the eye after a week and say, "I didn't think I could feel this way again," not because of a miracle pill, but because they gave their body what it had been missing in the simplest, most consistent way. That's the secret, not perfection, momentum. It's not about whether you eat spinach every single day or miss a beet juice here and there. It's about choosing every day to feed the man you still are, the one who wants to feel strong, who wants to walk without pain, sleep through the night, and still reach across the bed with confidence and presence. This isn't about food, it's about remembering your power. And the moment you begin feeding your body in rhythm, honestly, gently, you're not just eating, you're reclaiming something far more important, your connection to yourself. And that, more than any supplement or medication, is what makes the biggest difference in how you feel. 5. Feel a change in 1 week. When I talk to men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s, one of the questions I hear most often is, "But how long will it take, Dr. Kapoor? How long before I feel like myself again?" And I always pause before I answer, not because I don't know, but because I want to be careful. Because when you've spent years feeling foggy, slow, or disconnected, it's hard to imagine anything shifting. Hope can feel dangerous. But here's the truth I've witnessed more times than I can count. When you begin feeding your body with intention, real food, in rhythm, without shame, something starts to happen. Not in months, in days, in just a week, most men feel the first signs. Not dramatic, not movie magic, but quiet, powerful signals that something inside is waking up. I've had men tell me they looked in the mirror and noticed their posture had changed, shoulders pulled back just a little. Or they walked up a flight of stairs without gripping the railing and only noticed it afterward. Some say their hands aren't as cold, their sleep is deeper, they feel clearer in the mornings, like their brain has been uncluttered somehow. And yes, a few mention something stirring again between the sheets, sometimes unexpectedly. But what moves me most is when they tell me I feel more like myself, because that is the most beautiful kind of progress, not chasing youth, but reclaiming ownership of your body, your mind, your days. You see, we've been taught to expect decline with age, to brace for it, to quietly adjust to the aches and fatigue as if they are life's closing curtain. But I want to remind you of something that many men forget. Your body is always trying to come back to you, even now. It remembers how to feel strong. It remembers what vitality feels like, but it needs you to meet it halfway. And when you do, when you eat with purpose, when you show up for yourself with a little consistency, you begin to restore momentum. Not by pushing, not by forcing, but by trusting that those small daily choices are adding up. That's what makes the first 7 days so powerful. It's not that you become someone new, it's that you begin to remember who you are. You reconnect with the man who has always been there underneath the fatigue, just waiting for you to believe in him again. And once that spark comes back, once you catch a glimpse of what's possible, it becomes easier to keep going. Not because it's a chore, but because it finally feels good. Real change doesn't shout, it whispers. But when you listen, it can carry you farther than you ever expected. 6. Strength looks different after 60. One of the greatest lies we've been told is that aging means fading, that after a certain point, the best you can do is slow down gracefully, stay out of the way, and accept that your body just doesn't have much left to offer. But I want to tell you something as clearly and sincerely as I can. That's not true. You are not here to disappear. You are not here to be half alive in your own body. And what I've seen over and over again in men from every walk of life is that strength doesn't leave you with age, it just changes form. And sometimes it's waiting to be reclaimed. You see, what we're talking about here, beets, spinach, sweet potatoes, a little routine, it's not really about vegetables, it's about you. It's about helping you feel grounded in your own skin again. Because I know what it looks like when a man begins to feel invisible, even to himself. when he walks into a room and no longer feels seen, when he looks in the mirror and wonders if the part of him that used to feel vibrant is still there at all. And I also know what it looks like when that same man, after just a few weeks of simple, steady change, starts walking a little taller, when his voice is stronger, when his eyes brighten just enough to say, "I'm back." This isn't about trying to be 25 again. And thank goodness for that. This isn't about proving anything, chasing ego, or pretending you're someone you're not. This is about choosing strength, the quiet kind, the kind that lets you carry yourself with dignity, that lets you move through your day without wincing, that lets you sit at the dinner table or stand next to your partner and feel like yourself, present, capable, whole, and it's not selfish to want that. In fact, it's one of the most generous things you can do for yourself, for your health, for the people who love you. Because when you take care of your strength, you show up differently. You're not surviving the day, you're living it. And when you start from that place, everything changes. Your energy, your relationships, your sense of possibility. So if no one's told you this lately, let me be the one to say it. You're not too old, you're not too late, and you are absolutely still in the game. Not to chase youth, but to walk forward with power, with clarity, and with the kind of strength that only gets better with age. That's what this work is about. Not just food, not just routine, but remembering what you're still capable of and refusing to settle for anything less. 7. Start small, stay steady. There's a moment I see in so many of my patients, the quiet hesitation just before they begin. A kind of doubt, not because they don't want to feel better, but because after years of trying this and that, it's hard to believe that something so simple, food, rhythm, consistency, could make a real difference. And I understand. Truly, I do. We've all been told that real change has to be dramatic, that unless we flip our lives upside down, it doesn't count. But that's not how healing works. Not at this stage of life. At this stage, it begins gently, with one thoughtful step, one small shift, one honest decision to say, "I'm not giving up on myself." I've always said that your plate is one of the most powerful tools you have, not because it's trendy or full of superfoods, but because it's where intention meets biology. When you choose to begin your day with a glass of beet juice, or sauté spinach into your eggs, or serve yourself half a sweet potato at dinner, not to punish yourself or fix something broken, but to nourish the life that's still unfolding in you, that's not just nutrition. That's a declaration. That's a man saying, "I still matter. My body still matters." You don't have to overhaul your entire life. You don't need to chase some perfect routine. All you need to do is start. Pick one thing, one food, one meal. Prepare it with care. Eat it with purpose, and then do it again tomorrow. That's how rhythm is built, not in one giant leap, but in quiet, steady repetition. And what happens when you give your body that kind of loving consistency? It begins to trust you again. It begins to heal, not just on the surface, but deep down, in the places you thought had gone quiet forever. I've watched this transformation more times than I can count. I've seen men who hadn't felt hopeful in years call me after 10 days to say, "Something's different." I've seen men who thought they were past their prime rekindle laughter, movement, even intimacy, just from feeding their body in a way that finally made sense. No pills, no fads, just real food, real rhythm, and a real decision to start showing up for themselves again. So here's my invitation to you. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait for motivation or willpower or a big reason. Just choose one thing today, one plate, one act of nourishment. Let that be your first step, not toward some impossible ideal, but toward the version of you that's been waiting patiently to come back to life. You don't need to be younger, you just need to begin. And the good news? You still can. You've spent a lifetime showing up for others. Now it's time to show up for yourself, not with guilt or pressure, but with care, because you deserve to feel good again. You deserve energy that lasts, clarity that steadies you, and strength that reminds you who you are. And it doesn't begin with a prescription. It begins with a plate, a decision, a single quiet choice to believe that your best days aren't behind you, they're still within reach. So start where you are. One small step, one real meal, one vote for the man you still are. He's been waiting for you. If something in this message stirred something in you, no matter how small, I'd love to hear it. Leave a comment, even just a few words, and let me know where you are in your journey. And if you know someone who needs this kind of quiet reminder, please share it with them. You're not alone in this. I'm Dr. Maya Kapoor, and I'll be right here, cheering you on every step of the way.